Hi everyone, my name is Michelle. I'm with Accredited Land Brokers team with eXp Realty, and I'm going to show you how to change your listing that's in Skyslope and place it into a transaction folder. So you've accepted an offer, and so this is going from a listing that you have and changing it into a transaction. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you real quick. And I have signed into Skyslope, and we have let me just enlarge this real quick. And we have our listings and our transactions. So since this is already a listing that we have, we're going to go into manage listings, and it's this Hannah 198. So we're going to select that, and it will go to a main screen. Just go ahead and go next. And now you'll be able to go to checklist. And on this checklist tab, you can see right over here to the right, it's this blue button. It says accepted contract. We want to go ahead and click that button, and it's going to bring us to something very similar to what we had in our listing when we first initially placed it on Skyslope. And we're going to just start on this one field over here on the left, and we're going to work our way through it. So you won't have to change the MLS number. It's already in there. The checklist type is going to be, in this case, farm and ranch purchase, because this is a farm or ranch. I'm selecting tab, pressing the tab button on my keyboard to just go through the different fields. We don't have to change the address because the address is already in there from our listing. And then we're going to select our co-listing agent. Unfortunately, even though we had co-listing agents on the listing Skyslope software, it does not transfer them over. So we have to add those again. And we always want to add Robert Barr and Sandra Barr. And the best way to look them up is by clicking the add button here, not the down arrow, but this add button here. And I find them the fastest by just typing in their last name. So I'm going to select Robert, and then I'm going to type their last name in again and select Sandra. And then you want to save co-agent. Then we're going to just go over here. So the type of representation is no longer just a listing, but we have both sides. So we want to select this both listing and purchase as far as the drop down on that. We're going to go ahead and put the sale price in. So I'm going to come back over here into my dot loop and locate my purchase price of $430,000, but I'm going to confirm that's correct in my contract in case dot loop did not update it properly. And we do have $430,000. So we're going to go back over to Skyslope. I'm going to type $430,000 and hit tab. We can continue to just scroll through this. It will make us select office lead. In this case, it was an office lead. We did get it from within. And the file ID is going to be the Hannah 198. So we can just right click, copy, and then we can right click and paste it in this file ID area. The acceptance date is our time reference date, of course. So we're going to scroll to this last page here. And it's like 11/16 was the last day. So we're going to put 11/16 in. So like that, we're going to hit tab again. We don't have to change any of the listing price because it's already populated in there. And the MLS, for some reason it skipped right over closing date. So you'll definitely want to make sure that's in there so we can get our commission DAs and different things like that. So definitely add a closing date. Plus the fact that it does have this red asterisk means it is a required field. So go ahead and click on that. I'm going to go back over to my contract, and we're going to look and see when the closing date is, which is 12/22. So I'm going to place that in there, and we'll just be able to tab through the rest. We don't have to fill out the MLS because we're not part of the MLS, and we're going to select next. Okay, so now it wants a little bit more contact information. Some information you might know, some you may not. So this might be something you have to come back to after you talk to your buyers or your sellers, such as who's going to be doing the title work, who's doing the closing, different things like that. But we already have our seller information in, so we can just click this button up here on the right, which says next. It's going to move us to the next section, which is our purchaser. So I'm going to go back to our contract, go back here, and we have the James L. II and Shelley M. Berry Revocable Living Trust. And I'm just going to copy and paste that right in. Since this is a trust, we're going to click this little check mark here, and we'll enter it in the company name. Now, if this was not a trust and it was, say, just Jerry or another person, you would then enter their first name and last name, and you would do that for each buyer. So you'll put one person's name in, and then you'll come and hit save, and then you'll put the next person's name in. They want all buyers that are participating in this purchase listed. So we're going to go ahead and right click and paste. And that is all we have to put in there as far as the buyer, since it's just a trust. So we're going to go save. And then we're going to select next. So then it will go to our next area. Now I do know which title company is closing because it stated it. Oh, it did not state it. Usually it states it right here. So we are going to have to come back and enter this information. So for now, if you don't know who's going to be closing your file or your sale, just put to be determined, TBD, and then I do the same in each location that has this red asterisk mark. Now it's, you have to put 000 for the telephone number. It's very, very important that you come back and update this information, because if Skyslope does not have this information in it, we have no place to send the commission DA when it's submitted to us. So once we've submitted all our information and they've created the DA for us, eXp Realty, they put it in Skyslope and send it to the person that is doing the closing for the sale. So it's very, very important that you come back and enter this information once you are aware of that. Okay, we don't need alternate. We don't, this is going to be to be determined and to be determined. And then you can hit saved. And then we're going to go next. You know, it's not letting us do the email. Let me try this again. I had a little error come up. For now, since they've updated this where now it says invalid email ID, put your own work email in there. That way there's something in there to fill the field. So in this case, this is Sandy's, so we're going to put Sandy's email in there, and now we should be able to save it. And there we go. We didn't get the error up here over to the right. We're going to hit next. And we do not have an agent or anything like that, so you can just put none. Phone number, you'll just do zeros again. And co-broker, you'll put none. And you'll hit save. And we do not have a lender in this deal, I believe. Let me check our file. We do. So we are not aware of who the lender is yet. So once again, it's going to be a to be determined. Just make sure you guys update this information once you know the answer. It's very, very important, okay? You'll update the type of loan it is. And once you have that information, you just hit save and go on. Okay, so now our required fields are filled out in the contact information. We're going to hit submit. And the internet's running a little slow. There we go. All right, then it comes to this commission page. Now there is some fields that you are going to fill out and some fields that us at the office will fill out. So the initial listing commission, we're going to split the listing and the sale commission in half. So it looks like the sale commission was 5%. So we're going to go 2.5 and 2.5. So it's 50-50. That was agreed upon beforehand. And this is not a personal deal. Once again, just to remind you, a personal deal is if you're selling your own personal property. Say you're selling your own house, your own ranch, anything like that. If that's the case, then you would select yes. If you have any other deductions that are coming out, say you had pre-approved that, you know, they're going to get $250 back, whatever, I don't know. Sometimes those deductions happen, but you would put those right there so EXP is aware of deducting those from the commission because of the way they work, okay? Now this next section here, I don't know why that's popping up. This next section here is about the earnest money. Will your brokerage hold earnest money? This is always going to be no. We no longer hold any earnest money in our escrow account, so this is always going to be a no. And then you're going to enter your earnest money information here. Our earnest money on this deal is 0. They did not have to place any earnest money, so ours is 0. In the event there was, you'd put the dollar amount here, the date of the check, and then the date that it was submitted to that title company or whoever is holding that check. So whatever the date the receipt says, that's the date you're going to post here. If this is a referral, you would select that. So if it's internal, external, or no referral, this is not a referral, so we're going to hit no referral. If it was, that's where you're going to want to fill out the rest of this information, because EXP needs to know where to send that check. The closing office needs to know where to send the check, different things like that. So if you have a referral, you would put the referral agent information in so EXP can send them a check after closing. Okay, so I want to point out this area down here, this additional commission information and commission split. This is the area that we complete in office. Since you guys are on a sliding some of you guys are on a sliding scale, we need to comment in here exactly where you are at on your sliding scale. So it's very important, if you do not see any comments down here or you do not see the commission split down here, you need to email our office immediately, especially if you're within 2 weeks of closing. It takes 1 week for the commission DA to be created from eXp Realty. So we need to have everything completed 2 weeks beforehand so the documentation is ready for them and everything's there in case they have any questions. So if you are still missing information in here, there could be a couple reasons. One, you didn't put a co-agent of Bob and Sandy. Two, I wasn't aware, or whoever's in charge of doing the commissions was not aware that this one came up for closing. Maybe it came up sooner. We hadn't reviewed your items or your documents, and that's why it's not in there. So just drop us an email or give us a call saying, hey, I didn't see my commission information. Please, can you take a look and add that to it so I can get paid at closing? Third, you're missing documents. We won't put commission information in there if you're missing any documents that the accredited land brokers team requires. So if you have no commission information in there, it could be one of those 3 things that happen. So if you see that, like I said, drop us an email and let us know. So we'll add information, we'll save the comment, and we'll do the breakdown also down here. Once that screen is done, you're going to hit submit. It's going to go to our checklist. This is just like our listing checklist, except it has different documentation because it's a purchase that is required. Obviously, some things are not going to be required if you do not have a legal description supplement. That's okay. You can put NA and then you'll hit save. So what we're going to do is we're going to first email our documents from Dotloop over into Skyslope. So once again, we're going to take this email right here. It's an email. This is the email generated by Skyslope that will put the documents directly into Skyslope. So we're going to copy this. And you can also choose copy email, either's fine, whether you do copy or copy email address. And I'm going to go over to Dotloop. And the first thing I'm going to do before I create add person, I'm going to check and see if my Skyslope email is already in here. In this case, we ended up creating a new loop for this purchase. So the Skyslope person was not in there. So we're going to add person. Always, always, always label it Skyslope and then the name of the property, because as you can see, I want to point this out. As I was typing Skyslope in, there's multiple Skyslopes in there already. This helps us decide and figure out, you know, in our address book that, hey, we do have multiple different Skyslope emails. we don't want to erase them because then it will affect those loops. So make sure you always add the property name afterwards. That way we can keep a running track of it. And then we're going to add our email. So we're just going to paste that in there. And our role is going to be other still. You do not have to fill out any of these other fields. So you're just going to hit add person. And now we're going to go back and we're going to select the documents that I know we're going to need in Skyslope. So in this case, I know I'm going to need my purchase contract, my legal description, my conventional loan, the addendum, the estimated net to seller, estimated cost to buyer, our acknowledgement confirmation, our residential disclosure. We do not need the square foot. And if you're not sure, you can always go back over here. Sometimes we need the lead-based paint. So here's the lead-based paint. In my case, we are still waiting on one more signature on that, so I'm not going to transfer that at this time, but it will be something I'll have to come back and look at. We will need the buyer inspection waiver, the wiring fraud, and the affiliate disclosure. We do not need to transfer the Oklahoma booklet disclosure, but we do need to transfer these disclosure of brokerage services, not the information sheet, just the disclosure page, okay? So we're going to select that one and our sellers. We do not need the home inspection one, get a home inspection, or the lead in your home brochure. So you don't have to worry about forwarding those into Skyslope. Once again, if you're not sure what you need, you can just go over to Skyslope and look at your list as you're doing your check marks. You can always add it to it even after you send things. You're not limited to only one email being sent into Skyslope. So then we're going to take the items that we have checked. We're going to go share, and we are going to uncheck everyone because we don't want to resend those to our clients. We are going to send them to Skyslope. And then right here down at the bottom, once again, just like I said on our listing, we need to attach the PDF to email. If you do not attach that PDF to email, it will not transfer your documents into Skyslope. So it's very, very important that you do that. And then we're just going to hit share. It's going to do a little magic thing in the internet land and send it over to Skyslope. I'm going to hit done. I'm going to go back to Skyslope, and I'm going to start attaching my documents. So we're going to skip this first one, agent completion of file, because I know my lead-based paint isn't completed yet, but I will show you where to get that form. We're going to go with contract of sale. We're going to attach. And here's all my documents I just transferred from .loop. So if you don't see your documents here, you more than likely did not check that checkbox, attach PDF to email, when you went to go send those, share those documents from .loop. Okay, so let me get my contract. Here we go. You're just going to click assign just like we did on the listing. Now we're going to go to counteroffers. I do not have counteroffers, so we're just going to put NA, and then we're going to save. We do have a legal description supplement, so we're going to attach that. Assign, that's been on there. We have a finance addendum because we have a conventional loan. We're going to take that, assign. Now you're just going to do this for each document. It's very easy. Now here we have estimated cost to buyer, seller, or both. So we're going to actually do 2 attachments. So we're going to hit attach. I'm going to select first the cost to buyer. I'm going to assign that, and then we're going to attach again because we have 2 documents that we need to do. So we're going to attach and grab our estimated net to seller. And if you want to confirm that it took both documents, just click on this paper clip. We're going to get a little pop-up, and here's both documents that are attached to that file field. Same thing we're going to do here for the disclosure of brokerage services. Since we have both parties, you need to put in the buyer and the seller. You will be requested to do both if you're doing both sides. So excuse me. So now we have an acknowledgement of disclosures. Going as fast as I can, guys, sorry. And you're just going to do this, like I said, for every document. Authorization for inspections. So this is, you're going to have two documents. You're either going to have your authorization for inspections, or you're going to have your buyer inspection waiver, one or the other, if there is a house on the property or anything. If there any inspection can be done to the property, you need to include this. It's not just for the house. For the buyer inspection waiver, that is, a buyer inspection waiver is for anything concerning the property. So if there's a well on there, if there's literally anything that could have an inspection with it, a septic, a well, just anything, you need to make sure they sign that buyer's inspection waiver if they are waiving their rights to that inspection. So in our case, we have a buyer inspection waiver. It's this one right here. So we're going to assign that. So there will always be something, at least in this field, even though it said if applicable, the buyer inspection waiver will always be there, even if there's no house. If there's a house, you may have the authorization for inspection form. So that kind of changes it, but you will have something always in this field. Our lead-based paint, I'm going to just write a note there saying we're waiting on one more signature, or waiting on and actually it's a buyer signature we are waiting. And we will upload once that's completed. And then we're gonna hit, ooh, my mouse got me. So we're just gonna hit cancel. And I'm gonna type that in again. I double clicked on the top of my very sensitive mouse. And I'm going to save that. So now my note's saved in there. So when the state broker takes a look, she'll know why that wasn't in there. A copy of earnest money. This is NA in our instance, but you can put the receipt in there or a copy of the check, as long as there's a receipt date on there, like it's been stamped from the title company. But definitely the receipt form is the best practice to be in there, because it's signed and everything. In our case, it's not applicable, so I'm just going to hit save with the note. And we're still waiting for our pre-approval funds, or pre-approval letter. So we won't have anything yet to put there. So go ahead and skip that one. We do not have any TRRs because we did an inspection waiver, so we can just do NA on this one. I'm just going to copy this so we can paste it. Now we do have a miscellaneous doc, and that was the addendum. So we do want to add our addendum to this. We're going to assign that, and we're going to type what that document was. In the event that that save button doesn't come up like it just showed for me right now, just click over to the side over here and it will give you the box again, and then you can type whatever your note was and then hit save. I don't know why it does that, it just does it sometimes, so just click over to the side and you'll be fine. We need to add our wire fraud. And here's our affiliate disclosures. We want to add that. And we do not have a cancellation of contract, so we do not have to put anything in there. And we do not need to add any price change document. The only time, and this has a closing date change addendum, if the event that you have an extension that was done for your closing date, then you need to add that in this field. Not only do you need to add it to this field, but you will also need to go back over here to this transaction tab and change your closing date on this first screen. That way it's not sitting as an expired contract in, you know, our transaction file list. It's updated, it's correct, and we've added our price, or I'm sorry, not price change, our closing extension. And you can put more than one of these. If it ends up, you know, you're having to extend it more than once, just keep attaching them and then changing your transaction date for closure on your transaction tab. Very, very important. EXP will not give us a DA if we do not have this extension, if the prices or if the date has been changed. Okay, so very important to remember that. You can leave this blank at this time. You don't have to put a note. Heidi does not require a note, or the state broker does not require a note at this time. She said to go ahead and leave it blank, except when you do a price change and or a closing date extension. We will not have any of these reports here, an inspection report for home, termite, or well septic. So I'm just going to put not applicable in each one of these. And I know that's not applicable to us because we had a buyer inspection waiver, which means they waived all right to inspections. And now we are done with adding our documents to our Skyslope transaction document, and I'll show you where that goes in the list in just a moment. When you're within that week, when you're within 2 weeks of closing and you are positive that it's going to be closing within those 2 weeks, this is where you're going to see the copy of your DA. This is your commission DA. This tells the title company what commission you get. You will have it right here. It's going to end up with a little paper clip, just like we have right here. Just like when we added documents, they're going to add our DA in this field. You'll be able to access it at any time. You'll want to confirm that your title company has this document. That way you can get paid at closing. When the closing is completed, it has finished, and you have received your closing documents, the ones that accredited land brokers requires, we have a whole checklist that you need to make sure that you have. You will place your closing documents here, and those are just your HUD. So you'll want to make sure you have executed HUD and executed deed. That's all they're requiring as far as their closing documents. And then they also would like a copy of any commission checks that you receive. Sorry, my mouse is very sensitive. Any commission checks you receive. So that is your commission check, the office's commission check, and EXP's commission check. I know a lot of times we don't always get a copy of the EXP commission check, but it's very, very important that you ask for a photocopy of that so we can get it placed in here for the closing documents, okay? So we will more than likely have 3 files that are attached to this commission check. Yours, the office's, and EXP, okay? And that is it, and these are your listing documents down here. There we go. Now all this is completed. We already have all our files in here. All our documents are attached. There's nothing else that you need to do. It's already saved once they're attached. There's no additional save button. We do need to go and prepare this agent completion file form. So once I have my lead-based paint uploaded, I can add that to it. So you're going to come all the way over to the top left, and you're going to click on this eXp Realty logo. That's going to take you back to the main dashboard. And we're going to go into this working documents down here in this bottom right. And we're going to click on that. Then we're going to choose office documents up here. So you have your personal docs, and then we have office docs. This is another tab. We're going to select that. And in this list right here, you're going to look for agent completion of file. That's the one we are looking for. As you can see, documents are constantly being added, so you may end up eventually having to change page, but it is on there, agent completion of file. So we're going to select that. We're going to assign it, and this is where you need to assign it to the correct transaction. So we have the transactions up here at the top. We have listings at the bottom. So we're going to choose our transactions, and we want our Hannah 198. We're going to go show all. We may have to just type in Hannah. There we go. You can select that and hit search. There it goes. Comes up now. and we can assign it here. So as that list grows longer and longer, you're gonna have to do a search. So that's why it's very important to know where it is. And then we can go back over to the dashboard and we're gonna manage transactions. We're gonna do our search. Here's our Hannah right here. We're gonna click in that and we're gonna go back to our checklist. And if we go to attach it, we'll have our agent completion of file right there. You can also confirm that you have that document just by clicking on the Documents tab and going through this list and seeing if you have it also, which will more than likely be at the bottom of the list because the newer files go to the bottom, I've noticed. And then you can do it from here. And you can check mark this and assign it if you'd like to do it from the document page. So, and that is it. That is all there is to it for completing the transaction for a listing that is already one of your listings. In the event that you have just the representation of the buyer and you need to enter your transaction, it's very simple, very similar to your listings. All you're going to do is, instead of manage listings, we're going to go right here and we're going to create a transaction. So we're just going to click on that and we don't need to search for an address, but you're just going to do the same thing we just did when we were converting a listing to a transaction, but you're just going to have additional fields to enter now. So you're going to have to put every single little bit of information in each field. Just remember, this checklist type is very important that you choose the correct checklist. 99% of the time, you're going to choose this farm and ranch purchase contract, buyer or seller. So 99% of the time, this is the checklist that you are going to have. And then it's very important to choose the correct type of representation. So since this would only be the transaction on the buyer side, you're just going to choose this purchase side. You would choose this. That's going to let EXP/Skyslope know that you're just, you're just representing the buyer. You do not have both sides. In the event that you have the listing side, you're going to get this little pop-up saying, wait a minute, you have the listing side, but you should use your listing and convert it to a transaction. So you'll want to hit cancel and go back into your listings and find your correct listings, okay? So I'm going to cancel this. When you get all your fields filled out, you'll just hit next and you're going to do the exact same steps that we just went through. So just rewind the video back to the beginning and follow those steps. You're just going to have to fill in all the fields versus just a few, because the listing information transfers over, okay? Thanks, guys. I hope this helps and you guys have a great day.